Not all games are about violence. Not all games are about war. Not all games are about Mario. Games can go deeper. Games can ask philosophical questions, even move us forward as a culture. And they're fantastic as a medium for this because they build virtual playgrounds where we can see how things would play out. The original BioShock wasn't the first example of this, but it was one of the most memorable, with its display of failed Randian objectivism. Its successor, BioShock Infinite, builds its world on a similar idea of an extreme, controversial idea, but it uses that world as a springboard to other things. My name is Ryan Mandseth. I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer for 22 years. Games are a very important part of my life, and I want to see them do good things. Move beyond the public perception as either child's toys or murder simulators. I'm going to tell you why BioShock Infinite is worth checking out by looking at it from several angles. The story and the theme, cultural impact through its main character Elizabeth, and of course the gameplay. Obviously spoilers abound. So let me paint you a picture. The year is 1912. There's a beautiful city in the sky floating on clouds. Every man and woman has a chance to enjoy a peaceful life, enjoy the finer things, eat caviar, buy sparkling jewelry for their loved ones. But what you don't see are the people at the bottom. The people in the dirty jobs, the people slaving every day to make everything bright up top. And because it's 1912, racism is still very strong, making the paradise a white man's land and the underbelly a hole for everyone else. This is Columbia. This is the city that BioShock Infinite takes place in, and this is the setting wherein this game will proceed to blow your mind. You're familiarized with the upper levels peacefully before being exposed as a threat and thrown into chaos, trying to rescue a girl to pay off a debt that's never explained. Once you find the girl, you find out she can also tear holes in reality to other universes. And the rest of the game is spent trying to first escape and then to tear answers from this weird city. It gets a little complicated. BioShock Infinite deals with the theory of the multiverse, an idea that an infinite number of universes exist, branching off from the choices we either do or do not make. Thus, while the setting may dictate that the story is about oppression and extremist thought, the actual driving force is all about choice. This leads to some crazy twists in the story as the characters' pasts are unveiled and you learn about the choices that brought everything to where it is now, and what was different in the next parallel universe you hop to. Tom Bissell said this about his and his friends' reaction to a test screening play of the game. I struggled with aspects of BioShock Infinite's opening. Rob loved it without a qualm. Rob struggled with aspects of its ending. I loved it without hesitation. We sat in Irrational Games test lab for 2 hours, arguing over our interpretations of what the game meant, what it was trying to say, how we felt. Before long, reality set in. This is not what typically happens after playing a shooter. Now, as for the one at the center of it all, the main character, Elizabeth. I'm going to make a distinction here. When I say main character, I do not mean protagonist. The protagonist is Booker DeWitt, gambling, alcoholic, doing this to pay a debt, degenerate man. But the main character of BioShock Infinite, the one who drives the story and that people care about, is Elizabeth. Jim Sterling stated about Elizabeth in one of his videos for EscapistMagazine.com, talking about the rarity of female protagonists. She's a fantastic character, a brilliant one, and BioShock Infinite is absolutely her game. This is an important point. Games have been lacking in strong female representation since their beginning, sans a few prominent examples, obviously, but by and large it's been very one-sided and getting more obvious lately with the growing social justice focus on the internet. So here in Elizabeth, we have a main character who is not the protagonist. A fascinating decision because it gives the player a chance to observe a well-written woman, one with her own past and motivations and desires, from a second-party perspective. We get to see her be strong, see her save Booker on her own, see the emotions and expressions on her face as she follows you throughout the world and as you talk to her. One of the most powerful moments I ever had in the game was actually after a big gunfight. I was exploring an abandoned office building, I went into a room, and she followed me in and she just sat down on the empty chair. Now, this seems so simple, but it just felt so human. After such an exhausting fight, to see this girl just slump back in a chair and pause and take a breather. Everything about the way Elizabeth was created was done to make you care about her as a real person. Not as an AI, not as a combat partner, not as the girl to win at the end of the day, but as a person. But after all that's said and done, this is still supposed to be a game, right? So what good is a game with good writing and good characters if it's no fun to play? Good news is BioShock Infinite is amazingly fun to play. Very different from its predecessor, it doesn't put you into claustrophobic dark hallways, instead choosing bright colors, wide open spaces, and roller coaster rails in the sky for you to ride on and pick off enemies from above. It's a very chaotic feel, but in a really good way. The plasmids from the first game are back, this time called Vigors, and give you extra powers to use in the middle of a fight, such as creating electrical traps or shooting crows from your hands at the enemies. It's all very fun and makes a way more interesting take on the shooter genre. So at the end of the day, is the game actually worth it? I believe I've made my case. I talked about the story, I talked about Elizabeth, I talked about whether it's fun. And I say unequivocally yes. This game is worth your time. This is a game many journalists have called a generation-defining title. One that will stick with you, it will impress you, it will age well because it doesn't rely on gimmicks or cutting-edge graphics that will look really weird in 3 years, because that's how realistic graphics work. It's a game I spent $60 for in the first week, and I have never before bought a AAA title at full price. So I implore you, if you're a gamer, or even if you're just somebody who likes a good story, buy this game. It's already made its impression on the gaming community, but more support will only make the message stronger, and it's a message we have to send to publishers more. We need more games like this. Thank you.